All right, so we are live. Hey guys, it's Engineer Wannabe here with my good friend Sankalp from Sands of Time.
Yep.
Good
Nice,
to
nice to meet you.
yeah, good to finally talk to you in
Yeah.
person.
Yep.
and
Yep.
uh, and yeah, so it's finally time for us to have a live chat together. So I'm excited about that.
Mm.
We're just gonna be talking about a few things about um, Sands of Time. He has a YouTube channel, so if you guys want to go check it out, he has a great overview of the Dorado Captain Cook. And I watched your review of the Presage, your very first video,
Yep.
the
Yeah, that's the
the
very
crown chronograph.
yeah. In
It's
fact, I am wearing it right now. And
There you
to be
go.
honest, yeah. The thing with Engineer Wannabe, which has actually intrigued me the most, is he he gives a light to watches that aren't currently overrated in the market. Like no one knows about the enamel dial. Like not many people are familiar with these enamel dial watches, which are pretty amazing. But Engineer Wannabe gives a good overview of the whole thing, which is one of the best things a watch review can do. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
um, I feel that I'm kind of always on um, the hot watches. I guess when it comes to
mm,
Seiko, at least
yeah,
kind of I
yeah,
feel like a squirrel, and that's kind of what made me tired.
mm,
And when it comes to Seiko, lately they've been
mhm,
I'm getting whiplash from all the watches that that
yeah,
are coming out,
yeah,
and yeah, so it's kind of
yeah,
made me a bit fatigued. But
yeah.
let's say hi to a few people in the live chat.
Easy.
We've got Peter, who's first. Hey, Peter, good to see you.
Hey, Peter.
Keith is here as well. Hey, Keith. Wondering if you got your Oris Clean Ocean yet. Let me know.
Good evening.
Kevin's here as well. Wow, all the regulars. Jonathan, good to see you. Finally catching you live. That's nice. Bobby's here too. Good to see you. Watch Medicine, Bobby. And Orange Hand's here as well. Let me know what you guys are wearing. Oh, Kevin,
Yes,
you're wearing your SPB 185. That's funny because that's what I'm wearing.
oh, you guys have the baby marine maskers on.
Yeah, that's I
Yeah,
just got
yeah,
it today. But
yep.
Sands of Time, you just let us know what you were wearing, the Crown chronograph.
I'm
Um,
currently am wearing this green
yes,
crown passage. The lighting is probably obviously not doing it justice, but yeah, you did a really good review on this. I simply just fell in love with the dial, and I was like, I just had to have it.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. I really
so
enjoyed
enjoy.
that watch, and I it didn't turn out to be the keeper I was thinking it was, so I
Mm.
did move on from it. But I do still really enjoy that watch. If I could keep every watch I've owned, I would. But
Yeah,
unfortunately, I can't.
yeah.
And
Sometimes you just gotta part ways.
yeah,
Uh,
Bobby is wearing his SBGA
yes,
413
SVG.
Spring. Beautiful watch. I actually got to finally see one. I saw one today. The guy I bought this from actually was wearing it, and my jaw hit the floor. I've been trying to see because it's a USA only special
That's the
edition, and I've been trying to see one since the end of 2019, and
yeah.
I thought I'll get around to it, and then the pandemic hit, and I've been kind
Mhm,
of on the back foot since then because the borders are closed. I can't
mhm.
really drive down like I was planning
Yeah,
to. Uh,
yeah. The cool thing with those spring drives, yeah, in Australia you don't really get to see them,
yeah,
and I've heard there's actually a new there's a Grand Seiko 9S club, so
yes,
it's yeah. So is that available in Canada as well, or is it just a US only thing at the moment?
no, it's a US only thing.
Ah,
It's
fair
called the
enough.
GS9 Club, I believe,
GS9
and
club.
yeah, it's really cool. Lots of well,
Mm.
not a lot of um, uh, what do you call it? Content, exclusive content that they give their members. but it is kind of a cool concept. I do like that idea,
Mm.
and it encourages people to buy their Grand Seikos brand new. So if you buy your Grand Seiko brand new, you get entered into this really interesting club with exclusive content and things like that. So kind of a incentive there. But Watch Medicine called me a GS master, which I am. I am not. uh, Kevin, the real steal for Seiko Saturday. Keith says he did not get his Clean Ocean yet. He was looking at them. That's good to hear, Keith. Keep me posted. um, and Clothes on. Good to see you, man. He's wearing his third gen Seiko Monster. And Jonathan is wearing his Hamilton Petite Second. I don't know how to say that. um, but yeah, let's get started. So let's
Yeah,
talk
easy.
about watch comfort zones. I've been kind of
Yep.
thinking about this for a little bit, not too long, because I wanted to be on the same foot as my friend here. But I
Yep.
was thinking yesterday about comfort zones, and we have kind of talked about it in the past, but I know that there is a sweet spot where I really enjoy watches, and I've kind of mentioned it before how I was climbing up the ladder of enjoying timepieces, or climbing up the echelons, I guess, and I got to a point where I was not as happy as I was in a bottom rung, so I came down a couple of rungs on the ladder, and I was thinking about if you might have experienced that at all. But you can maybe introduce
Yep.
us to how you got into watches, and
Mm.
maybe how long you've been in the hobby as well. So
Yeah.
so have at it.
Yeah. So I think like a lot of people, well, with me when I got into watches, it was mainly I wanted a good watch at the start, and I got really fixated on what I wanted. I back in the day, I would think $150 on a watch was very expensive, and I wanted to, I was looking at all the Tommy Hilfigers, all those fashion brands. The more research I did on YouTube, I started learning about mechanical watches because I had once seen a watch with a sweeping seconds hand, and I was very intrigued. I wanted to know what was causing that. And then I got into mechanical watches, and I ended up actually getting a Seiko Turtle. In fact, so I've got it over here. My Seiko Turtle. This is the very first automatic watch I purchased, and this is the Save the Ocean edition.
Yeah.
And if you've ever watched Time and Tide, he does some cool watches. He's another Australian.
Yes.
He got me into this watch. He did a really good like a promo of the watch, and I got into it. And a lot of YouTubers, you really do get influenced by people. In fact, my first watch would have just been the SKX. But the funniest thing is, I wasn't knowledgeable at that time, and I actually thought the 7S caliber, I thought it not being able to hack was a completely redundant thing. And I was like, why wouldn't I buy the turtle? Because I'm actually getting the turtle at like a very close price. And the turtle, it looked good, it was unique, and I pulled the trigger. And so far now, I've probably purchased 12 watches. Like I've got 12 watches in the collection. I've purchased way more than 12 watches. I've probably purchased around 23 watches. But yeah, sometimes I was in the Seiko phase. I was buying some very like many Seikos in the entry range, like sub 1.5k. I'd get bored of them, so I actually bought 4 cocktail pressages.
Yeah.
I just got I kept rotating them, so I would. It wasn't like I was trying to flip for a profit or anything. I'd just be like, hey, I want to experience something new. I'd just get a new watch, and I was really um like I really liked owning those cocktail times. I really think they're one of the best in the range for a dress watch. In fact, that actually competes with some of the entry level Swiss brands. I would rather get the Presage cocktails. But in regards to your question, you mentioned the comfort zone. So you mean in like having a set number of collections or like set number of pieces? Sorry, what did you mean
Um,
by the comfort zone there?
what I was meaning was, what kind of um, timepiece would you
Yep.
find yourself most comfortable
Mm.
with. Like we all can't. So just to give you
Yep.
a baseline, we can't all hit the the Alangan Zone and the
Definitely.
Patek Philippe's and the Audemars Piguet's. We can't hit that. I know I'm never going to hit that. Frankly,
Mm.
I'm not even interested in hitting that
Mm.
level of
Yep.
timepiece. But I
Quality.
know
Yep.
and I respect, that they are the upper echelon, the Vacheron Constantins,
Yep.
and so on. Uh, and at the bottom we have say, and I'm not taking anything away. We have the Casios, right, and
Yep.
the Casio Duros, the Casio F91Ws, the Seiko SKXs. If we go up a little bit, those are say the gamut of timepieces.
Mm.
And I was wondering what zone would you find yourself the most comfortable in this gamut.
Yep.
Um, if you'd like me to answer, I can, and that way it'll give you some time to formulate. I can tell you where I stand, or if you're comfortable with going.
I can go ahead. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
that
go ahead.
was a good explanation.
Yeah,
So yeah, as I progressed from the start of the watch hobby, I've always been going up and up and up in price.
yeah,
I really want to experience, the high end, because if I start just only loving the lower price range of watches and start being fixated, there's a bit of a snobby culture. I might be like, what's the point of owning a Longines when I have a Seiko Passage? So I really started to appreciate Swiss watchmaking. And in fact, I recently purchased the Doxa Sub 300T Diving Star
hmm,
with a helium release valve. And this was around, in Australian dollars, it's $3,000, but
great.
which should be around 2,000 in US maybe. I'm not really sure,
I
but
think so.
yeah, yeah. So my comfort zone at the moment, look, I really want to approach the higher end of watchmaking. So I want to be getting Grand Seikos because I want to experience the technology of spring drive or the 9F quartz, or like with me. So my logic is like I would get a Nomos instead of trying to reach for something I can't, like an Alang and Zana or maybe a Glasude original, because the Nomos automatic calibers, to me, are just as good. It still features that that Haute horology to it. It's an in-house brand. It's manufactured in Glasuda as well. Your neighbor is literally Glasuda original Alang and Zana. It's literally in the same place. They have the minimalistic design, and I grew to appreciate it. So my comfort zone would be sub 5,000 to probably sub 5,000 Australian dollars at the moment. I would look to spend on a timepiece. So that would literally be Tudor Black Bay 58 would be
Yeah,
that peak. But that's for me at the moment.
Peter has
I really do want to go up. But yeah,
Peter has a good comment
yeah.
here. He said at the beginning he thought 500 was a lot. Then I thought 5,000 was,
Mm,
was a lot. Now I think
yeah.
10,000 is a lot. I think it's a moving target, and I think
Mm,
he's absolutely right. Um, it's the reason I was thinking about this was because we I came to the point where I went down a rung in the ladder, which I have not experienced before, and and that was what got me thinking about this. If there is like a upper limit based on our psyches, our psychologies, if I'm satisfied with where I'm right now, or if there will come a point where I would decide to go up further
mm,
on that ladder again, to start climbing that ladder again. And I can appreciate that there's no end to that story, right? There's no answer to that question because we're not dead yet. So the chances are high that we will start climbing that ladder. And uh, I wanted to let's maybe hit something a bit
yep.
controversial and say what kind of watch is there a kind of watch where you can just not handle, like if we're coming
Mm,
down to say the bottom rungs, um,
yep.
is there a watch where you just say I just need something more than that, Would you be able to put your finger on that?
Um, Look, if I'm looking at the higher end of watches, I definitely cannot stand something very simplistic in design. Um, like it could be some of the Credo models, not the the Ichi models, but some of the other Credo models. You have a look. There's no decorated case back, so it
Right.
has it has a very high end caliber, but it's literally it is a simple design. It has taken inspiration from like the ALS, Patek Philippe, the minimalistic style of the Calatrava and all. But at the end of the day, if someone looks at it, it literally looks no different to wearing a Daniel Wellington or movement. Yes, it features a good movement inside a high accuracy quartz. It's very minimalistic, but like I can't see myself spending seven to 8,000 US dollars on that when I can just get the Grand Seiko, or like which is doing a significantly much better job. And that's my thing with Credo. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I am a huge fan of their what they're doing with the micro studio stuff with the movements. That stuff I'm liking. But if you do go through the Seiko website, you go through Credo. I reckon a lot of people will have a similar take. I reckon.
Yeah. Bobby here has a great comment, and Bobby is someone I really respect and look up to. I take his opinion with great weight. He's saying he's at the end of his watch collection. He's been where you guys were, where we were. Now I just need a yellow gold timepiece and a German piece, and I shall attain watch nirvana and go on with life hobbies. That's a great place to be, and I almost feel like I'm at that point as well. I
Mm,
was, and it's funny because I too was looking at a yellow gold timepiece to call it an end, at least for my personal collection, and still purchase and review watches for the channel, and for the joy of the hobby. But I was coming to that point as well. But to answer, actually, let's say hi to a few guys real quick.
mm,
Chaz from the Berg was here. I posted his comment up. Hi Chaz, good to see you. And I think there was a few more guys who came in. Um, but Kevin was saying that the BlackBerry 58 is a great watch. And I think I'm at the 10K is a lot range these days, and I think a lot of us are at that point as well. Keith says he's comfortable at under the $2,000 range, but I have considered under 5,000. I've always been a saver, so it's tough to get myself to spend that kind of money. It's completely understandable, my friend. Um, Kevin says hard to go below anything less than the quality of Seiko Diver these days, and that's true, and I can agree with you as well. And that's kind of what I was trying to try kind of nail down. Um, I really I really respect a lot of the watches that are in the lower end, and I really enjoy them. One thing that comes to mind are micro brands, and I really enjoyed the Laurier. While I had it, I had the Laurier Neptune, and I was stunned at the fact that it only cost $400. And I think that is my lower limit. I don't
mm,
think I can go back down to say the Citizen ProMasters and the other watches, the Seiko SKXs, and not because I don't enjoy them, not because I don't love them. It's because time is short, right? And every second, every minute that I have something on my wrist, I want it to be special, and I want it to be the maximum amount of enjoyment that I can have. Like if I'm feeling this SPB 185, the Steel Master, as some people are calling it, I want to wear it, and I don't want to say, hey, I want to rotate through my collection. It's not this guy's turn, so I'm gonna put on a watch, that I don't really love. I'm not really feeling, and I feel
mm.
time is a bit too short for that. At least where I am
Yep.
right now, and I want to wear what I really enjoy, what really makes me go wow. And so I think the Laurier Neptune is at that point. The Laurier Neptune is in my experience at right now, is the bottom rung of me going wow and me going I really want to wear that. While I really appreciate the Seiko SKXs, the Citizen ProMasters, the Casio F91Ws, and all those watches, they don't make me go wow anymore, you know. And so I feel like I can't put them on my wrist, at least at this moment, because time is short, you know, because life is short, and that's where I stand right now. What do you think, Sankop?
Yeah, I think I can sympathize with you, especially with someone as experienced as you. You've gone through the whole range. It you really do want something special, and maybe when you get your superannuation, you can probably can get the Alanganzana, in another 10, 20, 30 years time. You can probably get these timepieces and you can enjoy them. So, it is the dream at the moment. And sometimes when I do collect watches, I actually like the thrill of searching for the timepieces. Um, so that's the thing with me. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
Yep.
it's about the hunt, and a lot of people
Yep.
do empathize with us there as well.
Yep.
It's really about the hunt. Like I think the first time I truly experienced that was when I got
Yep.
my King Seiko, and
Mm.
maybe this will be a good segue. But when I got my vintage King Seiko, that was the first time I really hunted for something.
Yep.
The first time I really looked for something, but at the same time, it was the first time it really fell on my lap. So that was quite an experience, and I don't think I would sell that timepiece just because of the sheer amount of emotions that I went through
Yep.
with that timepiece.
Yep.
Of course, barring financial disaster, I always put that at the end, because all these timepieces will go if they have to, if God forbid something bad does happen. Um, but let's quickly go back into the chat. Chaz from the Berg works for a non-profit organization. Just can't wear a Rolex or a $5,000 watch and keep it under 1.5K simply to avoid perception of excess. I completely empathize with you there. I totally get what you're saying, Chaz. I absolutely will not buy a Rolex, especially because of this. And I'm okay with buying a Grand Seiko because nobody knows what it is, and I can say it's just a Seiko. And I just a lot of people, especially where I work, not just where I work, but my the charitable work that I might do. I just can't put myself in a Rolex position and look someone in the eye just because of how opulent the brand Rolex is. It's an opulent brand. I would say it's the strongest brand in luxury, and I just can't do it because of its opulence. Um, Kevin also says get a gold grain Seiko SBGW2 360 SLGH002. Ooh, it's a high roller pieces there. I don't think I can bring myself to the SLGH002. I was thinking more along the lines of a gold Cartier, but um, Bobby says, please, people in the audience, don't go into debt buying timepiece. Be comfortable with what you buy, what you feel comfortable wearing. Don't settle for cheaper alternative and wait. Really good word to live by there.
Yep.
Keith is wearing his Laurier Neptune right now. Wow. This has got to be the night of coincidences. Kevin is wearing his Steelmaster. Keith is wearing his
Yep.
Neptune. Peter C. sympathizes or empathizes with us as well. Rolex is a nonprofit, says Orange Hand. That's funny.
Oh, always.
Yeah, great advice, Bobby. Great advice. Go big. I can't go big. Money is a restriction.
Mm.
All right, so let's segue. Let's segue into
Yep.
the King Seiko, and I know you have a few thoughts about this.
Yep.
So I'll leave it to you to start. What do you think about the SJE
King Seiko.
083?
Yeah. So honestly, just like many of those premium Seiko models, they will sell out. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah.
There are too many real Seikoholics that don't care what anyone says. They know they've got a reissue of a King Seiko. That's what matters to them. They're like, yep, this is exactly what I wanted. I'm getting it. It can be the 62 Mass. It can be the Willard. They sold out. People were complaining about the price. People, they're like, oh, this is everyone on YouTube. Yes, it's like it's an expensive watch, but I've held these watches in person. I've gone to the Seiko boutique, and I'll tell you right now, I would gladly own this over maybe having a Seamaster. I would gladly own having one. But just an overview of the King Seiko though is it does feature the 6L movement. It's priced at around 5.5k Australian dollars. In US dollars, I wouldn't know what that is. And it does feature the 6L movement, which you would see in the snowflake, the Seiko snowflake with the thermally blued hands.
Yeah, the SJE073.
Which is also a thinner timepiece, and the movement is thinner. The movement is it does look a bit better as well. Obviously, here you don't see it through the exhibition case back, but I think with King Seiko, I think it would have been better if they had went with 8L movement, have that high beat movement inside, because that is the true essence of owning a King Seiko, is to actually have that high beat. And I think with you and your like your actual King Seiko, I'm pretty sure that features the high beat, is it? Or
No, that's actually a low beat. It's in
so it's
18,000
a low beat.
vibrations per hour. It was
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was one of the last times they
One of
used
the
it, if I'm not
OGs.
mistaken. They switched to a high
Okay.
beat for the next generation,
Mm.
the 4502.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my opinion, yeah, with the 8L movement, you get that accuracy, the specs, the high beat. But apart from that, like for anyone that's a Seikoholic, this is doing the job perfectly. The 6L is fine, honestly, and the finishing on the dial, the case design itself, the sharp beveled edges, it is quintessential Grand Seiko grammar of design. So, I mean, anyone that wants a unique timepiece, this is something to go for, because at that same price range, you're probably still looking, you probably can't attain, like if you were to purchase a Grand Seiko, if you were in the market for one, you probably wouldn't be able to get some of the Grand Seikos that had the more exotic dials if that was something of your interest. So this is definitely something to consider.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And the 6L35 is actually quite a nice movement. Having owned one for quite some time, I owned one for about a year, which is unusual because I have the reputation of being a flipper. But the 6L is a good movement. It's very thin, and I think they did put that into good use here. Although I feel like they could have made the watch a bit thinner. Um, but
Okay.
I think the more I think about it, since the last time we spoke, the last time we spoke was on a live stream, and we were talking about the price. And I've been looking at other 6L 35 movement watches, and they're actually at this level or even higher.
Yep.
They they've been pushed up market really aggressively, and I think a lot of us missed that because of the other more interesting pieces in the lower end. But Seiko has pushed the 6L35 movement well above, say, even the 5,000 Canadian dollar range, so around the $3,000 to $4,000 range, and this is actually coming a bit under. Seiko released a Shippo enamel watch,
Yep.
a 6R15 and a 6R27 quite some time back, a couple of years ago. And they actually re-released a Shippo enamel dial with Arabic numerals in the 6L35 movement configuration, and it is above this King Seiko's in terms of price.
The price.
And
Wow.
and here the argument here is that you actually get a Zaratsu finished watch, or a Zalas machine finished watch, which needs the input of a master craftsman. And so this master craftsman is holding a watch by hand, if I'm not mistaken, into a spinning tin plate, and it's giving it this mirror-like finish, and it's been executed to perfection with the grammar of design by Tanaka. And it's putting all that together. I'm starting to really think that this is kind of worth it.
Yep.
It's not nice that Seiko did push this up so high up the ladder, so high up the market, and that's not nice. So thinking about that makes me still want a decent discount if I were to purchase this.
Mm.
But at the same time, if I was not given a discount, I probably wouldn't purchase it. But if I wasn't given a discount, I think I might be leaning on the side of thinking, you know what, this is what it is. It's kind of worth it at that point, and the chances are good that this will go up in value. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
an interesting thing with me contacting at least the some of the dealers in Toronto is that they're saying they're getting maybe two or three of the or two or three allocations, which is strange for a 3,000 piece limit. Usually, I say with the SPB 183, the Blue Willard, it's a 5,000 piece limited edition, but one of the bigger dealers here in Toronto got, I think, 8 or 9 of them. So I'm not sure if Seiko is kind of trickling them out so that it'll get the most amount of money for what they're asking. Like if dealers think, hey, we're only getting two, I'm not going to discount this. Seiko might be playing on that a bit. I know it's a little conspiracy theory, but I have a feeling that might be what's going on. And they might say, "Hey, we found another one. You can have another King Seiko." And a couple of months later, "Hey, there's another King Seiko," and still thinking that this is the last one I'm going to get, and a dealer not discounting to not try and move it out, which is what a dealer might do.
Mm.
At least that's my conspiracy theory of the day. So
Yep.
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back into the chat, Zen Master is great profile picture. Zen Master. My range is Hamilton Kaki mechanical up to, but not including Rolex. That's a good range. So the bottom rung would be the Hamilton Kaki Field mechanical, which is a really good piece. And it's really affordable too. I think it might be a bit cheaper than a Laurier, so I might have to reconfigure my bottom rung there. Kevin says minor setback. Let's see. Hamilton Kaki is great all day, every day. Even Rolex guys can appreciate a good Hemi field watch. Absolutely. Kevin then says, "You're selling me on the King Seiko." Sorry, Kevin. I would buy the King Seiko. I would. I'm still not sure if I would buy it at full retail.
Mm.
Zen Master says Seiya has the SBGW 231 for 3.6K. I'd kick in the extra dollars and go for that over the King Seiko. That's a good point. I think if you were to present a Grand Seiko SBGW 231 and pit it against the King Seiko, the SBGW 231 would win hands down. This is the 37 millimeter hand wound mechanical Grand Seiko. It's their I think it's one of their lower end pieces, entry level pieces. Not giving a bad connotation there. It's an absolutely beautiful Grand Seiko. I hear the same in New York City about the allocation. That's interesting, Kevin. Maybe my conspiracy theory has a bit of weight. If that King Seiko was slightly larger, it would be more tempting to me. For smaller wrists, it's perfect. Yeah, I've got a weenie, tiny wrist, so it's perfect for me. But having worn my 36 millimeter King Seiko, it wears it wears really big. So that 38 millimeter King Seiko might be wearing like
maybe a bit bigger.
So,
considering the lugs of them are pretty long.
Yeah, and blocky.
Yeah, the lug to lug.
Yeah, the lug to lug is still short. I think it's 45 millimeters.
Okay. Oh, that's really good, actually.
Yeah, but it's blocky, and so it wears a lot different to a curved lug profile. Uh, yeah, so let's move on to Seiko fatigue. That's one thing I
Seiko fatigue. Yep.
wanted to talk about. I've been experiencing some Seiko fatigue, Seiko dive watch fatigue, to be precise, but also Seiko limited edition fatigue.
Oh
Um,
my god.
Now, to set the picture here, I'll give you a bit of a soliloquy. So in 2020, I think Seiko went off the rails when it came to limited editions. Uh, Seiko started really strong, and let me switch you over to a screen here. Uh, that's not it. There we go. So Seiko started really strong with these limited editions here. We've got the
Yep.
55th divers watches, so 55th anniversary of Seiko dive watches, and Seiko started off with a bang. This wasn't right in the beginning of the year, but it was exciting. They were bringing this back. It was a little frustrating to some people because these were all limited editions before. The three you see here in the front, these were all limited editions before, and they're reissuing a reissue. So quite a few people, understandably, were upset. But it was exciting for those guys who missed out, myself included. And I got some hands-on time with all three of them, and they were really exciting. Um, I almost purchased the SLA 037, which is the 62 mass reissue.
Mhm.
And so they let these out to a bit of controversy. Some people were upset. A lot of people were really pleased. They were really excited to get this. And a lot of people did. They flew off the shelves, at least in Toronto. They flew off. You couldn't hold on to them. And then later on in the year, we had tons of limited editions. We had the Crown chronograph one that you have. I too purchased them. They were stunning, amazing value for the money, really good dial work, and 6 hour 35 movement, really good stuff. The SPB one here, the one you see on the right here, the SPB, this guy right here, uh, that flew off the shelves too because of what it was, and then later on in the year, Seiko decides to showcase. Let's bring this next guy up. Seiko decides to bring up these limited editions. So it's starting to get borderline ridiculous at this point. Seiko reintroduces the 62 mass in this SLA 043. And the reason they did this was they released the 8L with the 8L35 movement instead of the 8L55 movement. The 8L35 being the 28.8 beat rate instead of the high beat 10 ticks per second 8L55. And on top of that, they released a Seiko SPB 183, the one that I had. I just sold it today, actually. And this is the Blue Willard. Beautiful, beautiful colorway, but another limited edition. And that I think really, when those two watches came out, though I really wanted the Blue Willard, that kind of broke me for for Seiko when I saw that. They're releasing again for the nth time. They're releasing the 62 mass as a limited edition, and at this point, you kind of stop believing them. It's like the boy who cried wolf, right? This is a limited edition. No, this is a limited edition. Okay, now this is a limited edition. Now I'm thinking at some point there's going to be another 62 mass reissue, and they're going to call it a limited edition. And so at this point, I was starting to get pretty fatigued. And then we came to the next year. So this was all for the 55th year anniversary, Dive Watch's anniversary celebration. And then now Seiko comes out and says, hey, do you know what year it is? It's 2021. Do you know what that means? We launched in 1881, and it's been 140 years, guys. It's the 140th year anniversary. 2021 is the 150th 40th year anniversary. And so they start bombarding us with the King Seiko, which is the 140th year anniversary. This was the first thing that came out, at least to my knowledge. So celebrating 140 years with this new King Seiko. That's great. That's really exciting, and I'm really happy. And then we have, um, sorry, I'm trying to be as efficient here. But and then we have this I found out about today, 140th
Yeah.
year anniversary Sharp Edge black DLC kind of coated. It's not PVD, it's DLC, so really cool. Chocolate dial with gold indices celebrating 140 years. And of course, then we have the green dive watches, which are
Yeah.
really, really cool. Don't get me wrong, these are really, really cool. But another 140-year anniversary celebration, and it's only January. We haven't
Yeah.
hit February yet. Then we have a new Marine Master 300, we have a new Marine Master 200, and we have a new quartz solar chronograph, a dive watch chronograph. And I don't know, guys. I'm about to call it quits. This is exhausting as
Mm.
a Seiko fan, right? As a Seiko fanboy, this is just exhausting. For someone on the outside, it might not be. People couldn't care less, but you, it's not. It's almost worse than waiting for the next new iPhone, because it's coming out every month, even every week, and it happened to me. I bought the SPB 149. I wasn't too keen on it, and I had it for a while. I got the SPB 151, and then I thought, oh, hey, no, there's this blue Willard. I really like this shade of blue. I'm gonna get the SPB 183, and I got it. I was really happy, and then they release these guys not too long afterwards, and it's just starting to get pretty long, a long rant. But they released these Marine Master 200s, and I'm thrilled with them, but I was also pretty upset that now I bought almost every single Seiko that came out, and and it's super frustrating, and I'm beat. I'm tired. So
Yep.
yeah, what do you think? Are you as tired? You're probably tired
Uh,
of just hearing me.
no. I with it is what it is now. With
Yeah,
them releasing limited editions, 3 reissues of a 62 mass, one with the blue second hand. Well, honestly, there are no words for that. Look, they are a good limited edition. Not limited edition. They are good watches, but you know, them releasing limited editions is just crazy. And you probably notice, so these new green ones, right? So you have the Marine Master 300, 200, and then the chronograph.
yeah,
Um, with this, they actually released a while back, and I think because they're releasing so many limited editions, I don't think they're actually selling as many. I think these will still sell because they're in a much more affordable line. But you probably notice the Prospects LX green Seiko spring drive
yeah.
diver.
Like
So do you,
the one that looks like seaweed, right? The
the
with the
sea,
pattern.
yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one with the seaweed pattern. And a friend of mine was actually offered a 40% discount on a limited edition, and
Wow.
the price on these watches are ridiculous. It's like 10,000 Australian. Like it is actually like a Glasude original price. And look, I'll be honest, they're good looking watches, but this was an actual limited edition. But the thing is, when you price something so high and then your limited edition number is low, let's say, for instance, that specific diver I'm referencing has a 500 piece limited edition, but it's priced so high. Like, I really don't know who's going to be buying them. Like, I don't think all 500 of them will sell. But then we see limited editions from Seiko where it's like 9,000 piece limited edition Seiko cocktail presage.
Yeah.
Look, it is not limited edition. And the only thing it does right now, which is what I'm seeing, is that there are people trying to flip these limited editions just for being limited edition. But people are actually like smart enough to catch on that this thing is not even limited. You can just go to the store right now and buy it. Like,
Yep.
even with this Seiko Crown Presage, it is actually, it is a decent limited edition. 1964 pieces, but they've released probably three. They've released three variations: one with the black dial, one with the champagne cream dial. But you can literally go on Seiya Japan, get this watch for like 960 Australian dollars. It's cheaper than what I had paid for it as well. Like, it's not going to be limited for a long time. And another thing that I was very disappointed with was the actual blue Seiko Captain Willard. Well, it's not like I was disappointed. It's just that when I was going through their promotion, like the article they had for that, they were like, this was I think it was one of the first. It was worn by, I think it was was it the Inuit? Do you know that article I'm mentioning? The
I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, but anyway, what they mentioned in that article, they were like the rim of the bezel. So I'll just take out the doxer. This is probably not the best thing to compare it with, but they essentially said that rim of the bezel was Zaratsu polished. Like, that has to be the most insane form of marketing. And what I did that same day, I went to the Seiko boutique. I picked up the green 6R35 Captain Willard, the blue 6R35 Captain Willard, and the black.
Mm-hmm.
All looked the same. Apparently they all must have been Zaratsu polished. That has got to be the most god awful form of marketing. And I've actually compared the 6R35 Captain Willards to the Turtle. In terms of actual case finishing, I don't see a difference, but I know they've done good work on the dial and the bezel. The bezel action, in my opinion, when I felt the bezel action, it was very, very premium, like, to use.
Yeah.
It is a good watch, but with them releasing limited editions, yes, when you do release one, it's hard to get a discount on them, but eventually, like all these other authorized dealers, they need to sell their product. They have to put a small discount on these limited editions, and I think that's what's happening. So limited editions from Seiko right now, they're not going to hold their value. That's one thing I know. That they might hold 80%. They'll hold 80% of the value, but try not to get a Seiko for limited edition. If it looks good, regardless of limited edition or not limited edition, definitely go for it. But right now, what they're doing is crazy. And what I really appreciated from Seiko back in the day, the Shippo enamel with the 6R27 movement, amazing. That was a limited piece. That is actually hard to get. I can only see one or two pieces on eBay, and they're selling at retail price. Like, these are amazing watches. The Seiko Starlight, Seiko Cocktail Presage, those pieces are insane. People were getting them for around 300 Australian dollars back in the day. It's minimum 700. Like, because they've chosen the numbers. There's something special about it. And guess what? I actually don't see them hovering in the secondary market, because these are actually good watches that people want to keep. But right now, yeah, the Sharp Edge series. Look, I actually don't mind that. Again, it's 4,000, and I can understand why they're doing 4,000, because Seiko, they produce a lot of watches and they have a huge market. It's the same thing with the Seiko 5, the Naruto Seiko 5, or the Street Fighter Seiko 5. That 9,999 piece limited edition on one model of a Seiko 5 is ridiculous. You might as well just call it special edition. Hey, we've released a set. We have a bill of materials for these parts. We'll just produce 10,000 pieces and just call it a special edition. There's nothing limited about 9,999 pieces. They have been going crazy with limited editions. I think they need to stop, because it really doesn't matter. The good watches, like, if people care about value, retention, the good watches will hold the value. So that's just my take on it at the moment.
Yeah, and I have firsthand experience of that, actually, with the Blue Willard. When I was first trying to get it, I was under the impression that these were going to sell out as well, because of how quickly the SPB 149 sold out. And I bought it pretty much at list. And I am very upset that I did, because now they are selling for easily, at least for now, they're selling for easily 25 to 30% off. And at the time, even the few that did sell, the dealers were kind of holding on to them and saying no discounts. And I really like that colorway so much that I was willing to get it. which kind of hurt when these watches came out as well, because I think I wouldn't have got it had I known the Marine Master 200 was coming out soon, like a redone 200. And it's it's pretty evident that a lot of people are kind of done with the limited edition thing, and a lot of people are being a bit more apprehensive in buying them now at full retail, which is kind of why I kind of want to wait on the King Seiko. I want to wait and see what's going to happen. Are they going to keep trickling in until the point where dealers are trying to move them? I don't, probably not, but that's kind of what I am hoping for, at least.
Yep.
Bobby asked if you have a Instagram. I know you have a YouTube channel, which is in the description. So check out the description for the Sands of Time
Thank
YouTube
you.
channel. But do you have an Instagram account?
I actually don't actually have an Instagram.
Okay.
I should probably get one, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Do it. Do it. Share your watch pictures.
Yep.
Um, I think I'm getting it. My AD called me and asked if I want to buy a Shogun. Just bought 3 Seiko divers in the last 6 months. So Kevin is getting his Seiko fatigue as well. Amy, good to see you. Thanks for the kind words. King Seiko, part of the Seiko that will compete with Grand Seiko Market. SoCal Watch Reviews and we were actually discussing this. We were thinking maybe King Seiko, if they continue to push King Seiko, we were thinking maybe King Seiko will take the place that Grand Seiko held for Seiko Corporation, because Grand Seiko was the wing of Seiko that did really ultra luxury stuff, and when they split, now Seiko has that opportunity to put something there in that ultra luxury section of Seiko. So maybe King Seiko will take the position of Grand Seiko, but that's just us speculating.
Mm.
It's part of Seiko, but they're not bringing it back as a brand. Yeah, that's true. At least for now. Peter was sharing. I almost bought the SPB 143, but was afraid of their misalignment and bracelet issues. They have not been fixed. The Steelmaster. I'm fussy, but I'm kind of not fussy at the same time. This has misalignment issues as well. You probably won't see it, but the 30 is off kilter. The
Yep.
the arrow is lined up, but the 30 is off kilter, and it's you kind of expect it now, which is really sad. And I shouldn't be enabling Seiko by purchasing another one, but I really enjoyed this. I know of Grand Seiko and Seiko, but they recently separated as different companies. That's where my knowledge ends. There's one thing I've learned about Seiko is that they love to release limited editions and then re-release them again as standard offerings. It's a really sad state of affairs. SoCal Watch Reviews. Hey, we were just talking about you. Welcome, man. Thanks for joining us. He was lucky enough to get his SPB 143 below retail and brand new, and that's pretty good. And I'm sure in time they will be at a steady release, and they will be below retail on as a norm. But right now they are flying off the shelves, and they are selling above retail, if I'm not mistaken. Lord Seiko will be reborn. Sit below King. That kind of would be a better naming strategy, I think, for Seiko. What do you think? Instead of the Premier, Presage, Prospex, maybe having Prospex kind of has to stay there, but rather than the Premier, the Presage, and I forget the others, but there's almost 5 levels of Seiko, and it's kind of a poor naming scheme, I think.
Yep.
I love the look, but is it aligned? How's the bracelet? Thanks. Oh man, don't even expect it to be aligned, Peter. You kind of have to roll the dice. If it lines up, it lines up. I think his one is, yeah. Miguel's one has no issues. It's all lined up. That's a rarity almost, and it's shocking to say that a lined up bezel is a rarity, because that's kind of expected. So, yes, I think that brings us to the end of topics. I have a couple more, but I don't think we should get into them
Mm,
right now. Maybe we'll save it for the next live stream.
next one.
Uh, yeah. Do you want to share where people can find you, SoundCloud?
I mean, yeah, go. You know, if you want, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I only do this as a hobby. Like I'm not trying to, you know, trying to monetize out of anything. I'm just doing it because I like watches, and eventually, I want to release many videos and then just slowly climb up. But yeah, Sands of Time, it's something new. Yeah, I try and give my genuine take on them. And usually, you know, I once I pick up the watch, I just go on talking about it and then I stop. So you know, I'm not pausing in between or anything like that. I'm just giving my honest, genuine opinions. But yeah, just you can find me on Sands of Time.
Yeah, yeah, and it's very similar to what I do, I think, and so I
Mm.
think a lot of people who might be subscribed to me would be interested in that. So do check it out. His channel is in the description. You'll be able to check it out. So go like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, he had a really interesting video on Rado, and very informative as well. So really good stuff. I do recommend it. All right, guys. So that's it. I don't know if you guys want to talk about anything else, but if not, I think we'll close. We're coming up on the 1 hour mark. So
Yep.
yeah. All right. So yeah,
Easy. Yeah.
hope y'all are well. Hope your families are well. Do take care and stay safe out there. And this will all be over, and we'll be able to get together again, meet up, share watches, um, and have fun.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Sankal, for joining us.
Yep. No worries.
Take care, guys. Stay
See
safe.
you. Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Okay. Latest.